Hey there, this is Candace Stuff coming at you all the way live from sunny South Florida. Welcome. If you're new to my channel, my name is Candace Duff, and I've been doing this challenge called the Three Rivers Challenge. And this challenge is ending this week. This is the final week of the challenge. And I'm here today to talk about lessons I learned, goals I achieved, goals I didn't achieve, and things of that nature during the challenge. Because this is pretty much going to be the end of the challenge for me. Jessica from Three Rivers Homestead ended the challenge for her and her family with her last video, which came out, I believe, on Sunday. And so I'm going to do the same and end the challenge for myself. But don't despair. This is just the beginning of a series of challenges that I'm going to be doing on this channel throughout the year. So, and I'll be doing different types of challenges and different types of endeavors in order to keep you, my wonderful subscribers, and people who are yet to be subscribers happy. So what did I learn during this challenge, and what goals did I achieve and not achieve? Well, if you recall, in the first video I did for the challenge, I had like 10 goals, and I didn't glance over the long list of them. But I remember some of the goals, and we can talk about that now. One of the goals that I had was to avoid food waste. And I've got to tell you, that was like my number one reason for doing this challenge. And I really did avoid food waste during this challenge. I didn't throw out anything unnecessarily. I did things like take a rotisserie chicken and use the meat and use the bones for broth and use the broth for soups. And, so I did things like that where I was really, really trying to avoid food waste. And I ate down a lot of the stuff that I had in my cabinets and a lot of this stuff that I had in my refrigerator, almost all the stuff I had in my refrigerator, in terms of fresh goods, vegetables, fruits, things of that nature. I definitely ate down those things during the challenge. And let me tell you, I am so happy now to be able to go to a store and buy like some Borden cheese slices, which is the most processed plastic thing you can imagine. But that's the thing I missed most. And we'll talk about that. Things I missed most during the challenge and things that I would do differently, right, for the next challenge. But I definitely achieved my goal of avoiding food waste. I ate a lot of the things, or at least began to eat down a lot of the things that I had been storing for a long time. Things that I had never opened up, like the red beans, right? Like the pinto beans that I had in there that I had never opened that expired. Or the black beans, a big old, thing of black beans I had in there. I actually ate quite a few of those black beans. I actually got through a lot of that bag. And I think within the next 2 or 3 months, I'll empty that bag, which is pretty exciting, actually. And I think what I'm going to do is cook up the remainder of the beans and put them in a freezer. And that will make me use them, and stop them from getting much older. Because they're such old beans, they take a lot to soften. And so I want to go ahead and cook them up, and that way they won't get any harder, and basically get rid of those bags of beans. I got through a lot of the flours that I had. I made a lot of pizza, and I made a lot of other things that needed flour. And so the original bag of flour, which I had had for like years, I actually used all up. So the original white whole wheat flour is gone, and I'm excited about that. And I did that doing things like, making the bagels, that I made, the protein bagels and pancakes and, different things that I made. So, and pizza. So that was pretty cool. I was able to get through that bag of flour, which is really old. And now I'm using flour that's relatively new, flour that I had gotten right before the challenge began, or, closer to the challenge. I actually got through a lot of the tomatoes the canned tomatoes that were in my cabinet. And so, some of the canned, the ones that were too hot for me and the ones that were not as hot. And I did that by combining, as you know, cans of, tomatoes with peppers in it, like a Rotel type tomato versus, or a fire roasted tomato with cans that were more mild. And so that was pretty cool. I also got through all of that Annie's pasta that I had down in the bottom of my cabinet. And I got through all the Brahmi pasta except for one box. I have one box of Brahmi pasta left. And I realized I learned lots of things about what pastas I like, which pastas I don't like. or as much, which ones hold up the best. It was pretty cool. Going through this exercise, I learned a lot about what I want to stock up on in the future and what I don't. So that was pretty cool. And that's probably going to be a whole separate video, right? About, what items I learned, that I want to stock up on, what I want to stock up on in general over the next year versus what I'll never buy again. Now, one thing I did not do, I could not eat that, the 6 boxes of, I forgot what the pasta is made of that pasta that was not as nutritional. And so I'm going to go ahead and donate those. I mean, the expiration date on those things hasn't expired. I'm going to go ahead and donate that pasta so that I don't waste it, and that it goes to a good, a good source. So I'm going to go ahead and donate those. And that's a pasta made of, I forgot. Yep, the angel hair. The angel hair pasta made of hearts of palm. I'm going to go ahead and donate these to some, a place, where you donate food and stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I think we even have a food donation bin in my building downstairs. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And that way this won't go to waste, because I could not, to save my life, force myself to eat that. So, and life's too short. That's all I gotta say. Another goal that I had was to improve, and also my spice cabinet. Just by speaking of using things up, I actually used a lot more of my spices than I ever did before. So that was pretty exciting, because I actually made a dent in my spice cabinet in the sense that I ran out of certain things, bottles of certain things. I had duplicates. So, but there are some spices I learned that I use a lot of. I use a lot of thyme. I use a lot of paprika and smoked paprika, because I make that vegan cheese sauce every week. I use a lot of chili powder. So I had run out of, some of those things went down to 0, but I had duplicates in my cabinet. And now I've opened up the duplicates. So that's pretty exciting. I ran out of garlic powder, one of the bottles of garlic powder. Luckily, I have the fire roasted garlic from Kinder's, and I had other garlic powder in there, which is actually kind of low. But hey, I'm using up my spices. And now that I'm in the habit of cooking more and in the habit of eating really well, and not spending so much money eating out or ordering in, I think that that's going to be a thing going forward. I really see myself doing that. And I see myself using up those spices, and I see myself, just basically getting more use out of them, which is pretty cool. And even using up some of the things that are more exotic, like the coriander seeds or the cumin seeds, as opposed to the powdered cumin, like you would have in Indian food, or, my turmeric, that kind of thing. So that was pretty exciting. And I actually improved my cooking skills. Now, with that being said, hey, I learned how to make things like protein bagels. I learned how to make things like protein granola, which I never knew, chocolate protein granola at that. I learned how to make things like, how to make different stews and soups, like the ham and bean soup and the lasagna, the vegan lasagna, the regular lasagna that I made. So I learned how to do, make dishes that I had never really made before. And that was exciting. But there's some room for improvement, right, in my cooking skills. And that's something I'm going to be striving to do going forward. For example, I cook chicken to death. I need to find a way not to cook chicken to death. So I'm going to be working on that. When I put it in the Instant Pot, it's not going to be, 7 minutes anymore. It might be 6 or 5, just to make sure it's still juicy. And I'll try to stop cooking it before it hits 180 as opposed to 160. So, but I have actually improved my cooking skills, and that was pretty exciting. And I learned the benefits of, if I make a freezer meal, jotting down what it is. At one point during the challenge, I actually pulled something out of there that I thought was soup. And I don't know what it was. To this day, I really don't know what it was. What? This isn't soup. What the hell? Yeah, that was hilarious. Anyway, but I digress. So I learned the benefits of, basically jotting down what it is I'm freezing and being more selective about what I'm freezing and how I'm freezing it. Some of the things that I actually, liked during the challenge in terms of my preparation was that I had, for example, cooked the meat that was supposed to go into the lasagna. So I already had in a freezer bag pre-cooked, and pre-seasoned meat, the beef and the pork that go into the lasagna that I made. And I also had some pre-cooked and pre-seasoned taco meat that went into, burritos and dishes like that. So I was pretty excited about that. And that's something I want to do going forward. I think I want to try, I definitely want to learn how to do canning. And I'm definitely interested in doing meals in a jar and also pre-cooked meals in the freezer. So even if I don't learn how to can, for example, I want to have, pre-seasoned taco meat in there. I want to have like pre-seasoned lasagna meat because that was really, really handy going forward. I also enjoyed having the marinated chicken in the freezer as in terms of freezer meals. So I really enjoyed being able to pull out like some pesto chicken and make a quick pesto dish in my Instant Pot. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I think I want to continue doing that going forward. There are all different types of ways, right, of preserving food. And for me, up until now, freezing it has been my only way to preserve it. Freezing it, cooking it in advance and freezing it. So I want to explore different ways. I want to get a canner and try canning up some things, just a few things like some ugly chicken or, some plain chicken, also some meals in a jar, like maybe some chili or some soup starter or some broths, and now I've kind of got into, and this is where we're going to talk about the spending during the challenge. I kind of got into couponing and checking out sales. So because the cost of food, I noticed, has gotten even more insane during the time that we were participating in this challenge, when I finally did hit the grocery store, and even before, I started watching all these couponing sites, sites where, for example, there are people who specialize in the store we have downstairs here in my complex, which is Publix, right? So, and Publix is not the cheapest supermarket on the face of the earth at all. And normally, if there's not a sale, you're paying like a pretty high price. Not as bad as Whole Foods, but a pretty high price for your groceries. But when they have a buy one, get one free sale, or when they have a really good sale, and that coincides with, for example, a coupon from Ibotta or from Merrifield or from the manufacturer or something like that, then you can actually end up getting some really good deals. So, for example, they had recently, they had chicken breasts on sale, and it was not that expensive. Not that cheap. It wasn't like 99 cents a pound or anything like that. But it ended up being like $2 something a pound, which is lower than what the chicken breast normally is down there. Normally the chicken breast is really, really expensive. So I'm ashamed to say, some shopping during this challenge, during this month, where I actually didn't use the food. I went and just put it in the freezer, and I didn't use it during the challenge. So the stuff that I bought, I just put in the freezer. I bought, for example, some pork tenderloin. It was on sale for 2 for whatever, like 2 for $8 or 2 for $7. But it was such a really good deal that I couldn't not buy that stuff and just put it in the freezer for after the challenge. So I did that. I bought meats basically. And so that I put in the freezer that were just on like a ridiculous sale. And they also have, like, for example, Tutti Rosso tomatoes and stuff. I didn't use any, Tutti Rosso as far as I remember during the challenge. Maybe I used 1 can, I think, maybe of crushed tomatoes, I'm not sure. But I tried not to use what I bought that was outside of the challenge budget during the challenge. And so, but in doing that, I was able to see that you could really end up getting really good deals with coupons and sales when they coincide. So I might do something like that. I might actually do some grocery challenges during the coming weeks or whatever, where I say you can make X amount of meals that are healthy, high protein, because that's my thing, right? Healthy, high protein, for X amount of dollars, so you can look forward to. And let me know in the comments whether or not that's something you want me to actually do. To do like a challenge and say, how many meals can I make for $50 that are healthy, high protein, just shopping at Publix, right? So, for example, so let me know if that's something you would be interested in seeing me do. So there's that. So in terms of spending, I didn't meet my goals, even my revised goals for the challenge. I actually, in truth, went over the amount because I actually went out and shopped deals. And if and when I actually win, because I'm going to do this again, I'm determined to do this again next year. But when I do this again next year, I want to be able to make, and I'm going to make a caveat for catching sales that are just really, really too good to be true if I want to during the challenge and not using those items during the challenge. So I might have a budget for that, like X amount per month that I can spend on things like that. And that'll be part of my my carve out, it'll be fresh, vegetables and dairy or whatever, up to a certain amount per week or per month. And then a carve out for items that I want to put away that I might want to can later or preserve later, that are deals that I want to actually take advantage of that happen during the challenge. All right, so what else? Even though I did that shopping using, coupons and stuff or whatever and deals, I didn't spend a lot of money. I didn't spend anywhere near my normal grocery budget, and certainly not near my normal grocery and entertainment budget. I didn't do any entertainment throughout this entire challenge. So I didn't order in, I didn't go out to eat. I didn't do any of that. I didn't spend money on any of those types of things. And as a result, I saved several hundreds of dollars, even in 2 months. So that was pretty cool. Even though I went over my budget, even though I did buy, some meat and things like that, stock up type stuff, that were deals. So in that sense, I did succeed in terms of my goals, saving money during the challenge. So I failed on the budget, but I succeeded in saving money. And my other goals, learning how to cook new things, learning different ways of food preservation. I didn't really learn a lot about food preservation, or I should say, I didn't really practice a lot of food preservation. I did learn. I watched 50 million different canning videos on YouTube throughout this challenge, and I got really excited about them. So I think I could say I learned, but I haven't actually put them into practice. And I did want to go out and buy like a canner and jars, during the challenge. But that's something that I'm definitely going to be looking into in the months coming forward. So learning new things, and discipline. I actually have to say that I was very disciplined. I didn't eat anything that was outside of the challenge. In other words, I didn't order in, even though I was very tempted to. I didn't go out to eat in restaurants. I didn't, I cooked from home and I ate what I cooked at home. And I went without stuff, for a while. I ran out of cheese. I have cheese in my freezer, like block cheese. And I had cheese, for my pizza and stuff, shredded cheese, but I didn't have sliced cheese for like months, like a month. Basically, it's been over a month. And so, for example, that was like my biggest thing that I missed. People miss the darndest things during this challenge. And that was the one thing I did miss, which is not that good for you, the sliced cheese, the sliced, fake cheese or whatever, but it's something you're used to having. And I ran out of bread, actually, during the challenge. So the only bread I had was the bagels, like that, bagels, pizza, stuff like that, after I ran out. And after the wraps ran out, I just basically couldn't have any more wraps, right? So I did buy 1 pack of wraps in order to make the breakfast wraps, but that's it, And one of the reasons why, even though one of my goals was to learn how to bake bread, I didn't do a lot of that. But except for the bagels, I was hesitant to go ahead and bake like a loaf of bread because I didn't say anything before, but I am diabetic. And so, type 2 or whatever. And so I didn't want to just bake like a loaf of white bread that would like spike my blood sugar, ridiculously. When I eat bread, it tends to be high fiber, high protein. And that actually, burns slower or raises your blood sugar on a slower basis than say just, a loaf of white bread or Italian bread or whatever. And so I want to learn how to bake bread, but I want to learn how to bake, bread with a fiber to carb ratio of, 5 or 4 or something like that, right? So we'll have to see. I have to look for recipes that do that and look for types of grains that'll do that. And then, so I want, to be able to bake bread that's lower in carbs, high in fiber, and high in protein at the same time. And for that, I'm going to need more research. I can't just take anybody's bread recipe, right, and make it. And so that's something I'm going to be looking forward to working on throughout the year. There's a lot I'm going to be looking forward to working on throughout the year. For example, I found that it was easy to keep my protein levels up because I had so many different sources of protein. I had protein powder. I had high protein pasta. I had meats. I had textured vegetable protein. I had, high protein tofu. I had, and so it wasn't just meat. It wasn't just cheese. It wasn't just your typical proteins. It was so many different types of protein that I had access to and that I could cook during a given day. And that actually helped me out tremendously in terms of being able to sustain this challenge. And I gotta tell you, I could go another month. I mean, especially if I went vegan, I could go another month just buying vegetables, fruits, and dairy, or when I say dairy, I mean like, my pea protein milk or something or whatever, or maybe some cheese to put over pizza. But I could do that probably for another month, especially if I use my TVP, if I use the remaining 2 packs of tofu I have, if I used, I have other forms of, protein in there that I could use. And I still have, even notwithstanding what I bought recently, I still have a lot of meat left in my refrigerator. I still have another pack of those sausages, that I know that was like a 12 pack of sausages, the spicy ones. I still have, a pack of beef in there, 93% lean beef. I still have chicken in the bottom of the refrigerator. So, I could easily, just on that meat alone, go another month. And then I still have rice. I still have beans. I still have frozen vegetables. I still have blueberries. I still have cooked pancakes, even in the freezer. And I still have some in the refrigerator. So I still have a lot of things. I still have some tomatoes, even if I don't touch the ones that I bought recently. I only bought like two or three cans. But even if I don't touch those, I still have diced tomatoes. I still have pasta sauce. I still have brahmi pasta. I still have banza pasta. I still have the carbonara pasta that I made last week. So, I have a lot of foods left in here, thank goodness. And I could theoretically go throughout the entire month of March and definitely not starve. I might be bored at some point, but I'm not going to starve. So, thank God, right? But it's the truth. And that's because I have protein powder left, and when I say protein powder, I'm not even just talking about like the kind I put in my smoothies. I'm talking about the crazy protein powders, right? The almond protein, the naked pea protein, there's proteins I don't even know what to do with in there. I still have, I forgot the vegan cheese, basically. I still have that. I still have a lot of stuff in there I could use to sustain myself. So, and lentils. I have lentils. I still have canned beans left. There's still a lot of food left in there. So I thought I would make more of a dent in my cabinets and in my refrigerator and in my freezer during this 2-month period. And that kind of surprised me. Like I thought I would eat through more, but it's interesting. I'm only one person, right? So one person is not going to eat through all that stuff. And that was eye-opening in terms of how much food do I need to sustain myself for a while. But as I began to say, a lot of the vegan stuff is shelf stable, right? Peas, lentils, garbanzo beans, rice, quinoa, nutritional yeast is what I was thinking about before. Nutritional yeast, a lot of that stuff is really shelf stable. It's at least a year, if not more. I've had beans for years, so pasta, a lot of that stuff is really shelf stable for a long time. And so if I wasn't focused on meat per se, theoretically, I could really stock up on those vegan sources of protein and really be fine. Now, you want to have a vegetable. I would need to buy more frozen vegetables to sustain me for a longer period of time, or fresh vegetables, or whatever the case may be. Now, if I had a garden and I was doing vegan, I think I could really, really, really have a pantry that would last a long while, that wouldn't cost me the ends of the earth and would actually sustain me for a long time. It's interesting how that works. And all it takes is really just changing your mind about what kinds of proteins you're willing to use and how to combine them and things of that nature. And there's a lot of things that I didn't do. For example, there were so many more recipes I could have made with my textured vegetable protein. I could have made a TVP chili instead of making the chili with the tempeh, right? I could have made a TVP bolognese, which actually I intend to make this week. So that's gonna go on pasta. I could have made, and I actually saw a video today about a TVP, textured vegetable protein meatloaf. And so there's a lot of things I could have done with TVP. Another thing is I didn't touch seitan, and I have vital wheat gluten. So I could have made another vegan protein called seitan that's made with vital wheat gluten, and I haven't done that yet. And seitan mimics meat. So I could have made seitan to mimic anything from deli meats to, you can make seitan steak, seitan chicken, seitan anything you want. And that has just as much protein as meat, which is kind of crazy. But, and I mean, lupini beans. I could have made lupini bean seitan. There's this chick called Natalie Matthews, I think her name is. She's a bodybuilder. She's on YouTube. She has her own channel. And she does lupini bean seitan all the time. So people mix gluten, vital wheat gluten with, anything from chickpeas to to beans to tofu or whatever to make the seitan. And she does hers with lupini beans, which is why I have, I don't even know, 4 big jars of lupini beans in there, which is another type of bean I still have in my cabinets. And I haven't gotten to that yet. So there are a lot of things that I haven't gotten to yet and that I didn't get through yet or I didn't touch during the challenge. So, and I noticed that I tend to gravitate towards the same things. So another one of my goals is going to be to actually differentiate more in my protein, mix in more vegan proteins with more non-vegan proteins or whatever, mix it up and use more of the vegan stuff that I have because I haven't used it as much as I could have. And let me see what else. One of the things I really missed, I missed terribly, was turkey. I didn't have enough ground turkey in there. So if and when I ever do this again, and it's gonna be when, I wanna make sure I have at least 4 packs of ground turkey because I like ground turkey and I like, ground beef too, but ground turkey, turkey chili, turkey bolognese, there are turkey dishes, Another thing I wish I had was more turkey sausage. That's something like Italian sausage. When I made that turkey sausage, kale, and pasta soup, it was so good. And I could only make that once throughout this entire challenge because, I only had the 1 pack. And it was really, really kind of disheartening not being able to make more of that. So I think I'm going to make sure that my freezer is stocked with more diversity, right? Not just one type of thing, not just chicken, not just, beef, because I really leaned on those two because I was shopping a lot at Aldi and they had really good high quality grass-fed beef, 93% lean or whatever. But I want to make sure I have lean turkey. I want to make sure I have, turkey sausage for dishes, I want to make sure I have things that I enjoy in soups. And I noticed that certain vegetables lasted a lot longer than others. My potatoes, I didn't have enough potatoes and I ran out of those and I ended up having to buy more. And I even bought more this weekend because I love me a potato and I like to have them in my burritos and I like to have them as fries and I just like to have them. So I think there are some things that I learned that I need to keep on hand. I need to keep potatoes on hand. I need to keep, cabbage on hand. I need to learn new ways of making that cabbage so that I don't get bored with it. And I like different types of cabbage, instead of just the red, the green, right? And certain vegetables just lasted longer. Certain things went first, One of the things that I really did enjoy was having the peppers and the onions, frozen peppers and onions in the freezer. I need to stock that more. I need to stock a lot more of it. Another thing I'd like to have is a variety of frozen fruits in there. I ran out of strawberries and other types of berries early. And I still have bananas in there because I did buy all those bananas. And I had the blueberries, but I'm, getting low on blueberries. And I like blueberries a lot, frozen blueberries. I put them in my smoothies. I put them on top of my pancakes. And so I would make sure I had more of that, to go through another challenge to make sure I didn't run out. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. And if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And if you enjoyed, coming with me on this journey, let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know what types of content, give me suggestions as to what types of content you want to see on the channel. Do you want to see me having more cooking demonstrations? Do you want to see me having grocery challenges? Do you want to see me talk about things like 5 ways to use TVP, textured vegetable protein, or, 9 ways to cook salmon, or how many dishes can I get out of 50 bucks shopping at Publix, or how to use, Ibotta and other and manufacturers' coupons to greatest effect, or how to extend, my food through incorporating vegan cooking, or the health benefits of any of these things. Let me know what you want to see on this channel. All right. And thank you so much for joining me on this journey. And I look forward to doing challenges with you in the future. And let me know what types of challenges you want me to undertake. Do you want me to do a freezer challenge? Do you want me to do a challenge where I designate certain items in my pantry that I have to use up? Do you want me to do you want me to show you like high protein, high fiber, lower carb breads and how to cook them? Do you want me to curate the type of, material from the internet and from other sources and bring that to you? I'm happy to do that. And I'm happy to learn because I'm curious myself, right? How to learn how to do those things. Do you want me to curate like the best, meal in a jar type recipes, right? To can or that kind of thing. Let me know what you want to see on this channel and I'll make it happen for you. All right, you? Take care and have a wonderful, wonderful week. And I'll see you next Sunday when I do my last, cooking video basically for this challenge. Take care. Oh, and before I go, let me know if you want me to do lives. Do you want me to do like a live where I talk to you and we're able to actually, and I'm able to answer questions like in live format? Let me know about that too. All right, take care.